Heyo! Guy number 2 here, back with another weekly challenge. The challenge of last week was to build a plane, put a rocket in or on it, get everything into the air and then launch the rocket mid-air. The challenge had different levels of difficulty, one of them being to land the rocket on the moon. I got started, and when I build planes I always start out with just putting something together and see if it flies. Often they don't. With a little bit of tweaking, I finally got the plane flying, and the only thing that could crash it now was bugs. And for some reason the plane would randomly combust when either landing or simply turning off the engines. Concluding that the plane had been bug cursed, I decided to scrap it and build a smaller one. And it actually flew first time. I also made it so that it could carry a small rocket. I had the thought that maybe I could do the most difficult level of the challenge with this plane, which was to do an air launch, but on Laythe instead of Kerbin. I got the most terrible idea to go for it by refueling the plane in orbit. So before I could do an air launch on Laythe, I had to get the plane to Laythe. So essentially I put my rocket in a plane on a plane and got it to orbit. However, after building a way too big refueling rocket and rendezvousing with my plane, I saw that the plane and its wings had slowly drifted apart. That would make a takeoff on Laythe quite difficult, if I had ever gotten there in the first place with the tiny iron thrusters. I don't know what I was thinking. Seeing that I wouldn't be able to leave a plane in orbit without its wings slowly drifting away from it, the plan with refueling this plane in orbit and going to Laythe was shut down. I lowered my ambition and went for landing on the good old Mun. I decided to only get rid of the iron thrusters and keep the rest of my design. I thought it would be more interesting if I, instead of using the internal move Kerbals around thingy, had the Kerbal EVA and then go to the small rocket in flight. And even though my Kerbal gave it a good try by sliding down the side of my spaceplane, it wasn't able to do it. Eventually, by moving the Kerbal the normal way and avoiding it going puff, I finally got this small rocket into orbit. Realizing that my rocket needed more power to go to Mun, I extended our small boy to a long but not very wide boy. I also added a few more rapier engines so it was able to get off the ground. However, extending only one part of the plane apparently changes how it controls. It was literally impossible to control it after decoupling the rocket. However, it made for a great submarine apparently. But after playing around with the weight distribution, by adding a bit more fuel to the nose, I was able to get the long but not very wide boy into orbit. After that it was a piece of cake and I was able to land this ridiculously looking rocket on the Mun. This challenge really had me pulling my hair out, and I cannot wait for them to drop the first patch and hopefully fix a lot of the bugs. Anyway, that was all for me and I hope you had a blast doing this challenge. I hope you liked the video, and if you feel like it, please leave a like and subscribe. Adios!